morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America. And hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And I've got a fun new product to show you today. I apologize for the delay in getting on. Our internet has been having some spotty issues, and of course, right as we came up to 10 o'clock this morning, it went down, and I had to power cycle everything, and hopefully it will stay stable for this project. So this is me. This is how you can reach me. The project from today will be on my next blog post over here at nancysniftynotes.com. And if you have any questions or concerns, or I can help you with anything here in Australia especially, or if you need a demonstrator elsewhere in the world, reach out to me, Nancy at nancysniftynotes.com. We are coming up to having a new annual catalog. This is my copy. I've got copies going out to my regular customers. If you do not have a demonstrator in Australia and you would like me to help you out with that, drop me a line. Again, Nancy at nancysniftynotes.com, and I will get you our brand spanking new annual catalog that goes live on the 6th of May. In preparation for that, our last chance products list and has been updated on our store. There are tons and tons of new things in there. I'm pleased with how much is seeming to be carried over into the online exclusives, at least for now. But I went through and yeah, I'd say just over half of my existing stamp sets got retired. But you know, that's, or were put on the last chance list or have been discontinued. We don't say retired anymore. It's a new system. So you know, that's the life of stamps. But as I said last week, I'm all about using what you've got and pairing it with some fun new things to give it a new life. So yeah, today the products I'm going to be using are on the newer side. It is the all zipped up stamp set. And the really fun part, these are fine, but what they do is they just augment these really cool dies. So there's the other one that goes with that. So as you would guess from the name, zipped up, it's got zipper pieces, and we're going to make hopefully a fun little guys. I think it's more like a streetwear. That's what I'm calling it. Streetwear inspired hoodie type card. So the other item I am using that is relatively new is a piece of the Timeless Plaid Designer Series paper. I did not purchase it, although it looks like it's going into online exclusives. I still probably won't purchase it. What I did when I went to my retreat back in February, I traded. I had some papers that some other folks didn't have, and somebody else had these, so I traded them for these 5 pieces of the Timeless Plaid. They were the ones that appealed to me most, and I'm using most of one of them for this project today. So, and they are two-sided. I didn't show you the other side, but that's okay. I'll show you when I use them. So what are we going to do? We are going to start, I think, and I pulled this in thinking, oh, this will fit in there. But in fact it doesn't. So I'm going to bring in my other one. And because I'm using the bigger one, I may actually, we'll see. I may do a combination. When I use the big one, I may just do it on the side. Okay, so for this, I am going to cut this zipper piece. I'm just going to center that up. going to bring in a piece of my manky old Post-it tape. I'm going to cut this off to this on my big shot, oh my goodness, Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine off to the side here. Not hold the big one in front of you here. So this is literally my first time making anything or using anything with this. I have not done it before, so I'm learning along with you. So this little scrap comes out, and then we'll take that off, and we've cut our V-neck zipper, and those are cut, but don't worry about it. It's gonna get covered up and it's gonna get glued down. It's all good. So I'm gonna set that aside for now. And then for my actual zipper, I'm gonna bring that same piece back in. And this one I think will go through here just fine. This is silver foil to make my actual zipper. I'm gonna start there. And again, that comes out. I've got a use for that in a minute. There's the start of my zipper. And now, so it cut down just to the bottom of the V. Get that out there. And now what we're going to do is we're going to line up this part. And you can kind of feel it lock in, I hope. Go. And again, I'm gonna take that on there. Go on. So that is a two-step process. And we've got that's more scrap. I just saved the scrap because there's always some time that we're going to make small things out of some silver. In fact, one of the things I'm going to do while I have this right here, this has some zipper pulls. There's two different styles of them. I'm going to use this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there. And run that through. Rid of those scraps. And there's my pull. Okay, so there's that, and that is going to line up right on it there. Woohoo! And now we're going to make a couple pieces of trim. And I've got, these are identical. Let's stay on there. Sorry. Got a little of the tape adhesive. Not this tape's adhesive, but the adhesive from the packaging that they came in. Let me get this all the way on here, I think. There we go. Really? And what else do we need for die cutting? Oh, I'm gonna make, it's got pockets. So we'll do a couple of pockets, and I'm just doing it out of this pebbled path. So it doesn't matter where I place them, so long as they're actually on the cardstock. Yeah. Days like that, or just everything? Everything. It's being a little more challenging than it needs to be. Okay. We'll set those aside for later. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, so we've got this piece, that, and then these trim pieces. Okay, so to go behind my V, my zipper, I'm going to do a layer that's a shirt. And I have played with a couple of different, let me bring in my card base too. I'm going to do this Pebbled Path card base. That's the dark. And I'm trying to decide. I've done a couple samples. I've got this little V, and I've got a slightly bigger V. Which I think I like better. Yeah. Okay, so let me show you how I did those. I've got two punches. The Sweetest Star punch, that was the smaller V, and I've decided I don't like that, at least for this one. The bigger V, it's this heartfelt hexagon punch. So I did it on this little sample piece of basic beige, but here's my, I've got 2 of these. Yeah, here's my full size one. It's the same size as my designer series paper. And I am just going to do it right here in the middle. I am eyeballing it, and I'm doing it because I'm not worried about these straight sides here, because this covers it up. You're just going to see the V, and I'll get it just a little bit deep as I want. And I'm trying to get it centered left and right. I could do a lot of measuring stuff, but I don't think it needs it. I'm calling that good. So there's that piece. And we're going to start gluing this up together. See how that's going to go? Okay, I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, because when we get up in here, we might have some glue kind of sticking out of it. So what we want to do, my glue here, is glue around the edges like we usually do. And we're going to glue around that edge. And remember, this is loose, so we're going to put glue down there as well. Okay? So with the glue, I get a little bit of wiggle time, and I can get that completely lined up. And go ahead and make sure that's down nice and snugly. And there we go. And see, I got a couple little dots of glue there. I don't worry about it because it's not going to stick to anything. Now I'm going to add my zipper, and it lines up perfectly because we did it with the die. And that's the whole point of dies. And I usually tell you to put glue on the smaller thing. I'm not going to do that this time because we know exactly where this is going to go. And I think this way you're less likely to get the glue on the foil, which is a huge no-no. You really don't want to do that because it is impossible to get off. Yep, like right down there, it oozed through just a tiny bit. I'm going to make sure my hands are clean. There we go. And now, again, we're going to do these trim pieces on there. Look at how that all layers up so nicely. Yeah, these I didn't cut so well. We may have to redo these. That one is fine. Yeah, we need to do one more of those. I will be right back with that. Okay. That should be better. I didn't have it quite long enough. So let's double check this again. That one on there. And that one on there. Yes, perfect. Okay, and what I'm doing is where that corner is going right here at the end of the V of the zipper. So I am again, because we know exactly where we want this to be, I'm adding the glue to the silver. Because I think it's going to be easier than maneuvering it on there. Of course, I just flung it. There we go. I don't see any comments from you guys, so I guess either I'm doing a good job of explaining or you're really bored or something. Okay, there's that. And now give it another second, I think, to keep drying. And then I will trim it. That. And then down at the bottom. Okay. Get rid of the bits and pieces. So there is that layer. And that gets put on the card base. Now, of course, you can use designer series paper, you can stamp cardstock. I've seen it where people have run one or both of these layers through an embossing folder to add texture. You can do all kinds of things. That didn't get quite enough glue. Let's put another dot there. And then I'm going to add our that, I think, with glue dots. I don't really want it on dimensionals. I don't want it that high, but glue dots give just a little bit of dimension. We want two of them so that it doesn't pivot. There we go. And let's see here about some pockets. One. And two. I heard somebody refer to this as paper dolls for card makers. I used to be very impatient with paper dolls, I think. Too bad Mom's not here today. She would tell me. And then, you know, sometimes the pockets have rivets, right? I'm trying to decide. What do you think? So far, so good? Yeah, I think we could do 4 or 5. But that might be a bit much. Per pocket. So I like that for the outside. And then for the inside, I'm just gonna do, I've got this scrap that when I trimmed, it was 6 by 6, and when I trimmed it down to size, I had this little scrap. So I was gonna put that on there. But let's start. I've got 2 of the sentiments. This says, zipping by to say hello and happy birthday. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the happy birthday in there, Pebbled Path. This color is retiring at the end of this annual catalog. So that's one reason I went ahead and used this piece of paper today. I'm going to say happy birthday there right in the middle. And then I think I want to say zipping by to say happy birthday. So I am going to, there are 2 different ways to do it. You can just ink up the whole thing and then clean that off with your chamois. But I think the easiest way to do it. Hi, Nicole. Thanks for joining me this morning. These are little Post-it, little bitty Post-its. And I'm just going to cover that with this bitty Post-it while I ink up the rest of that. And then remember to pull off the Post-it. And now I'm just going to line that up over that happy birthday. Zipping by to say happy birthday. Close up the Pebbled Path. And let's add this on. Like so. And I'll put this in. Well, hey, there's a card that turned out exactly how I envisioned it. That's amazing. I hope you like that. I enjoyed making it with you. Again, it will be on my blog, the very next post, that you can find at nancysniftynotes.com. If you need me for anything, nancy@nancysniftynotes.com. If you are watching this on one of the replay options, please do pop a comment and say hello and tell me if you like this, if you think I've inspired you to buy this all zipped up bundle. This is an online exclusive. You will not find this in any of the catalogs. So head to the online store and search for All Zipped Up, and it will pop up for you. Yeah, I will be back. Same time, same place next week. We're getting really close. Let me double check my calendar here. I think... Yep. So next week, we will have changed clocks here in Melbourne. So if you are watching somewhere where your clock doesn't change, click on the link wherever I'm posting about this stuff and double check the time, because it'll be off by an hour if your clocks didn't change. And I can't tell you which way. You're just going to have to check timeanddate.com, 10 a.m. Melbourne time. You can figure it out for where you are. But I'll have that link up on my blog post for this card, and I'll have a link up on my Facebook page 2 hours before I go live. There'll be a link up that you can double check to make sure you know what time that is for me. So I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.